Hi, my name is Yvina, and I just wanted to do a quick presentation and share some information how you can hire your children and receive some huge tax benefits, which will be tax deductible to you and tax free for them. So, did you know that there's no withholding requirements for employees who are minors under 18 years of age? So, instead of paying them an allowance, you can pay them wages, and that will be tax free for them up to $6,350, and that will be tax deductible to you as a business expense. However, if they earn more than that $6,350, they'll simply pay the minimum, which is usually the 10% bracket, the tax rate. And also, children between 18 and 24 may also qualify for the $6,350 exclusion if they're full-time students, although they'll still be subject to payroll tax withholding, so if they're college students pretty much. Some example of work duties that you can hire your kids for: filing paperwork, passing out flyers and brochures, managing social media, emailing clients, cleaning the office, answering phone calls, and many more. You could hire them at a reasonable duty according to the age of your children. You also want to make sure that the services performed are not considered household chores because they are part of parental training and discipline rather than services rendered by an employee for an employer. So there are some rules that you have to follow. 1, your children must be age 7 or older per Sandy Botkins. I was reading one of Sandy Botkins' book, and he say 7. Now, I read another book from another tax professional which say 6. So it's always good to still talk to your tax provider to just make sure that you're being compliant with the rules. Also, you must pay them a reasonable wage. Wages must be paid on a consistent and timely basis. So pretty much how we as regular W-2 workers get paid, either weekly, bi-weekly, anything like that. In order for you to employ anyone, you should have an employer identification number, or in other words, EIN, which is issued by the IRS. So you can get an employer identification number on the irs.gov website. Complete Form I-9 to verify work eligibility. Complete Form W-4 to determine withholding requirements and verify the employee's social security number. You want to document that the services were actually performed, document that the wages were actually paid, and file Forms W-2 and W-3 at the end of the year documenting the wages paid. So for all these rules, you want to make sure that you set this up with a professional tax advisor to ensure you are compliant and that you are certain that you're compliant with the state and local tax laws. And also, if you have children under 7, you can check with them to, like, for example, if you have an LLC and you have your kids doing certain commercials for your businesses, you just want to make sure anything when it comes to making these wages deductible, it has to be earned income. So you want to make sure if you did have some type of LLC, you can hire your children that's under age 7 if they're doing some type of commercial ads or anything like that. What you could start off by doing is a written employment agreement. This will document that a bona fide employer-employee relationship exists, and it will state the hiring date, wage level, work to be performed, and payday schedule. And another thing to make sure that there's proof and record keeping that the wages were actually paid, you can pay them with a business check. So instead of cash, it makes it easier to make this as a business check. And for the record keeping purposes, you should deposit all of their paychecks into that account. So pretty much open a separate savings, checking, investment account for your children, you can be the custodial account holder, but it's still going to be under your kid's name. So for record keeping purposes, you should deposit all of their paycheck into that account, even if you then withdraw part of it for cash purchases. Another thing that's good for hiring your kids is a Roth IRA. Your child can contribute to a Roth IRA. They will pay taxes on the contribution, but at only the minimum 10% rate. Tax-free once they're ready to withdraw the money for retirement, education, payment on house, or etc. So they can start off young because they will see the power of compound interest. So anything that they earn after tax dollars on that is tax-free. So say if they're starting off pretty much you start them off probably 10 years old or pretty much like 16, and just imagine they have to leave this open for 5 years and they're ready to pretty much mess with it and move it around once they're 21. It could help them on their college expenses, or if they just simply want to keep this for when they're ready to retire. And it's pretty much a good vehicle to teach them about the value of money. So you want to actually have one open for them because this will help them pretty much on generational wealth. So they won't ever have to struggle about emergency of if they want to own a home, if they need some type of college expense, or if they just simply want to take it away in their 60s when it hits retirement. The power of compound, it never stays the same. It's going to always grow over time. And pretty much when people work, they're pretty much working for their children to maintain their current situations right now. So it could pretty much be sustained to the future. Well, it's always good for your children to have an IRA where it could be tax-free for them, which is pretty much the Roth IRA, because say once they have children, they could pretty much show them the value of the same thing you're doing for them. So if you pretty much go for the requirements from the IRA or the IRS, and you're pretty much being compliant with their rules, you pretty much teaching your children the value of money, which they could pass down to their children. So now it's going generation by generation. And they're not struggling. So they're pretty much working for you. Don't have to be a W-2 worker as of right now. It's pretty much a choice. It's not forced. And they could pass it down to their children, and they'll do the same thing for them, as long as they're being compliant with the rules from the IRS. So that's one thing that's pretty much good as far as hiring your children, is pretty much tax-free for them up to $6,350 for this year, and it's tax deductible for you. You're pretty much an employer for your children, so you're not doing no special favors just because they're your children. They're really helping you out because you're going to pay the money on them anyway, and you're pretty much showing them the value of what it be to be a business owner. You're showing them the power of money, the power of compound interest. You have something that they could pass down to their children in the future, and there's no struggle in the world because they're pretty much outpacing inflation. So that's a little info that I just wanted to share you on hiring your children. If you have any more questions, just jot it down. You can text me at 510-629-0738. We can get into a little more details on it. I could also pretty much schedule a 3-way call with one of my mentors that could go into further details on it. But before you start with anything, just make sure that you have a talk with a professional tax advisor so you can know the ins and out on getting started. Now, if you're not a business owner and you pretty much need something as far as just being the sole proprietor, you can pretty much get started at $34.95, because what my econ does for people is pretty much teaching them the concept of income shifting. So you as a business owner could pretty much take your money from being the highest tax bracket and invest in your money through some type of business, which in this case right here is a home-based business. So you're pretty much shifting your money to an account as far as your children, where you're landing yourself in the lowest tax bracket for both you and your child. So if you have any questions, like I said, just send me a text, give me a call, or just simply inbox me. If anybody found this valuable or valuable information to share, go ahead and share. My page is on public. Okay, thank you.